Hi, I'm Sophie, and this is my language learning log number 2. So for this language log, I'm going to be talking with my dad, who was a pretty good Spanish speaker. He lived in New Mexico for a couple of years, and so he picked up Spanish really well when he was there. And he also has to use it in his job a lot. So I want to talk to him on the phone for a couple minutes about like certain foods and just like some easy phrases in Spanish that I think will help me just learn the language better. So my first SMART goal is to speak for at least 2 minutes with my dad on the phone and try to be able to understand each other well, talking about foods and things like that, by Sunday, May 21st at 11:59 p.m. The reason that I chose this goal is because I think that picking something really easy and kind of accessible like foods or something that has a lot of common phrases in it will help me a lot. I didn't want to pick something really hard, and I feel like talking about food is a pretty achievable subject for me when I'm learning Spanish. My next SMART goal is to practice any phrases that I found difficult while talking to him. Write these down and try to be able to say these words with ease and understand them by Sunday, May 21st at 11:59 p.m. So the reason I chose this was because I know there's going to be words that I don't know, and my dad's definitely more advanced of a Spanish speaker than me, so I want to write down any words that I don't understand and try to study those and just get better at those, because I'm sure that there'll be really common phrases and words that would really help me to understand. So a weakness that I have related to language learning is that I get defeated easily, and if something is really hard for me, it's easy for me to give up or just feel sad about and just not even want to work on it anymore, especially with language because it's such a hard thing to do. And so to prevent this, I want to just really remain diligent and remember my goals. I think setting a SMART goal is really good because it keeps me accountable and it's actually attainable, so it will prevent me from giving up really easily. A strength that I have is if I am really inspired to learn, I'll really want to work hard and study these words. So if there is a lot of words that I don't understand, I really like learning them and being able to check them off the list of stuff that I don't understand and try to make progress that way. And if I am really inspired, I tend to work pretty hard on it, so I think that can help. And then as evidence for this language learning log, I'll be showing my notebook, which has all the phrases and things in it. A strategy that I can do to achieve these goals is to practice any phrases that I feel like my dad might tell me beforehand. So there's some words that he uses in Spanish just in my everyday life, honestly, that I'm aware of, and I want to study these before I have the conversation so that I'll be ready to respond to them. And a second strategy I can do to achieve these is record anything that I found confusing, any words or any phrases that I found confusing that he said, and write these down in my notebook, and then study these, either look up their definitions or ask my dad. This week in class we talked about 3 different modes of speaking, which were interpretive communication, interpersonal communication, and presentational communication. And I think that my goals and my plan to talk to my dad is definitely an example of interpersonal communication, because it's spontaneous, it's person to person, and it's pretty on the spot. It's not drafted and edited like presentational communication or interpretive one way, interpretive communication. This strategy and these goals that I have of speaking with my dad, I think are pretty different from what I did in school and in language classes. I think this is, although it's kind of intimidating to go out and talk to someone when I don't really feel confident with my Spanish skills, it's definitely, I think, more effective than the ways that I learned Spanish in school. It's not as procedural. So, when talking about the downsides of using more classroom based and more like rote memorization types of language learning, Anne Burns in 2017 on page 244 said, however, as many learners who have experienced these types of classrooms have come to realize, such knowledge is not sufficient in itself to enable them to become effective speakers. They must also learn how to proceduralize or put into action such knowledge through use in different contexts. 4 broad categories of core speaking skills for proceduralization can be outlined: pronunciation, speech function, interaction management, and discourse organization skills. Pronunciation skills means that learners can articulate and blend the sounds of the language, assign word stress to create meaning, and use appropriate intonation patterns. So, this passage by Dr. Anne Burns lets me know that my strategies of speaking with my dad, instead of trying to memorize something or any more of those kind of traditional ways to learn languages, is really effective because it allows for me to practice pronunciation. And these are my notes from my conversation with my dad. I wrote down some sentences that we said together, so I'll read a couple of them. So I was asking my dad just like about what he had for dinner or like what he had for breakfast, and I said, "Como tú tienes para desayuno?" which means breakfast, and he said, "Yo tengo café y leche y frutas y cereales." I also asked him, "Tú tienes gustan para comida?" and he said, enchiladas y papas fritas y arroz, which means enchiladas, french fries, and rice. So those are, I guess, some things that he likes to eat. And then there were some words that I wrote down that I didn't understand that my dad said. So the first one was papas fritas. I had heard that in my high school classes, but that means french fries. I thought it meant something completely different. So that was a good one to learn. El Ros, which means rice, which was another one. So my goals were really, and strategies were really aligned with my learning task. I didn't have to adjust much at all. I tried to stay within my original goal of asking him about foods and things like that, and there was quite a bit to talk about. Something that was easier for me was just being comfortable talking to him and like not doing great at talking to him. It was easy for me to just talk to someone like that because I'm really comfortable around him, and so that was easier for me. I could like kind of experiment and maybe say things I wouldn't to a friend or something. Something that was challenging for me was trying to remember some of the words that I thought I knew. There was a lot of food words that I learned in high school, and I felt like pretty confident and ready to use those words, but when it actually came down to it, I couldn't remember a lot of them. Challenges, I just tried to really emphasize the words that I did know, and he also gave me some notes on, and like gave me some inspiration for new words that I could say, and also reminded me of words that I knew. If I were to do this again in the future, something that I would change about the approach is I would maybe talk to him for longer, and I would also maybe add other topics other than just food to talk to him about. I think, obviously learning about food is a really good way to learn Spanish because it's something that people talk about a lot, but there is a lot more to know, and I think that would help me a lot more. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.